everyone. Welcome to another episode of Her Reigning Journey. Thank you so much for joining us today. With us, we have Mistress Amanda Vital Bedminister. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, the first icebreaker question we'll ask you is, what's something that made you smile recently?
Definitely this summer I was smiling ear to ear. My daughter does her yearly summer intensives, but this particular year it was really a question on if she would go, yes or no,
Okay.
if we should cancel because she's been dealing with health challenges since last year.
Wow.
So with that, we did not want for her to experience any challenges during the summer intensive. So I had this fear going on, and she kind of reined me in as well. Mom, I'll be okay. Yeah, she's like, Mom, I'm going to be okay. Don't get worried, etc. And then she took part in the repertory that Kane Coleman, the choreographer from the US, did.
Wow.
And she loved every minute of it from the
Lovely.
beginning to the end. And she stayed practically without any issues throughout the entire summer. So that for me was very heartwarming. I smiled through that.
Imagine as a mom.
Exactly. And the mere fact that she enjoyed it. So for me, that was a moment as
Yeah.
well as hearing that she really enjoyed
Wow.
Alvin Ailey. So that for me was something that made me smile recently.
I love it.
Definitely.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. Love it. Love it. And one more we'll ask you is if you had the opportunity to be on a TED Talk tomorrow,
Hmm.
what is something not related to your career that you would speak about?
Listen, I think that is a difficult question.
Listen, you can touch on.
There is like it's so wide. Let me bring it back home because there's one particular topic I love,
Okay.
and I think it goes across the board for everyone, and that's authenticity.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So for me, I'll stick to that particular subject matter simply because I think once we could become or be our authentic selves, we can do any and everything. So for me, authenticity would be the subject that I'll definitely do at a TED Talk. So TED Talk, someone I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
I do think that you will do a
Yeah.
phenomenal
I
job.
believe in it. I believe in authenticity,
Yeah.
period. I was having that conversation with someone in March. I think we was in Orlando, and I was speaking about a particular venture I want to go into. And the thing that I said, the world has so much ideas of how you should do something.
Right.
And I refuse to be in that ideum of others. So I want to, anything that I do or I'm thinking of doing, I need it to be authentically me and
Wow.
no one else. So until I could put my finger on a way how I could deal with that and tell you don't play with this person, Amanda,
Yeah.
you know, that's when I will venture out into that particular arena even the more. But for
Wow.
sure, my authenticity, I do not want for that to be touched. No way, no how.
I love it. And that is what a lot of people gravitate to. And I think, sometimes we overlook that. But when you are authentic, you'll be surprised as to what really and truly pulls people to you.
Yep. I
There's only one you.
There's only one you, and persons can recognize when it's not you,
Right.
or that you're acting in a character that's actually contrary to who you are, or who you want to be, but you're trying to be in this whole ideology of what the world thinks you should be,
Mm,
or what the world thinks you should be doing.
correct.
And you work outside of it. The world don't need another duplicate of another. The
Correct.
world need an original.
Original.
And no matter what, there is something for someone. When you see these type of business ventures, you're like, hold on, wait a minute. What you selling? But you got to look at it this way. There is a market for that authentic venture.
Correct.
And that's who the individual is, and that's the product they believe in, and that's the authenticity that they want to put out there. And you have to say, yes, okay, this is you. Do what's you. Father George. There is someone for you,
For you.
for your market,
I
always.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree 100%.
I'm glad you do.
So that icebreakers
Sure.
cruise us into the conversation a bit more. So the first question we'll ask you, is where does your story start? Where does it begin for Amanda?
Hmm. Feel in depth. Um, Let me put it this way. I grew up First and foremost, I was born in Dominica. A lot of people don't know that. I came to the island when I was a year. I'm my mom's only girl.
Wow.
So my other aunts and cousins, all ladies, lived in St. Martin. And when this girl came about, the start began. Bring her to St. Martin. So I grew up with four dynamic women, I would say. Old school. Whew, this is old school love. This ain't this new school thing. Old school love, but strong in faith, strong entrepreneurs, because all of them worked for themselves.
Wow.
Strong mindsets, yet very humble,
Wow.
extremely humble individuals. So my beginning started right there on Back Street, Canagator Street.
Okay.
I used to live in the Arnold's yard, and I had these four ladies, strong English women. So no one is speaking Dutch, and here it goes. My mother put me in a Dutch school. So that's also my beginning as well. And with the Dutch school here, she goes around and tell me, you're not going to be learning no Creole. So my mother had no interest in me learning Creole.
So you don't know
I
Creole?
don't speak Creole.
Okay, well, I mean, we're on the same page.
Yeah, she was
I'm
like that.
Dominican and I really don't speak the Creole either.
Don't speak. She told me you're not learning no Creole, learn the Dutch man language. That was her automatic
Wow.
response. And because of that, I think also I assimilated rather well
Correct,
with
correct.
my classmates or everything. So no one never really knew that I was not born from here. I was not born here.
Yeah.
I was born to be here. You know, so that's where I started with four strong women,
Yeah.
strong faith values. Listen, if I'm not in Catholic church, I'm NTBC. And if I'm not in NTBC, I'm in Catholic church. If I don't say my prayers, I say my prayers somewhere else.
Sure that that foundation was laid and set.
Strong foundation. So that was the beginning. And of course, because I was also, though there are four strong women, and then you bring this one little girl in between these four strong individuals, you should a strong little girl
Exactly,
somewhere.
exactly.
So
It's
that's
over
where
the line.
I the line. So even though I was a bit rebellious in my own way or stubborn in my own way growing up, and probably still is today, but you know, we see stubbornness is like witchcraft.
We see when you get that entrepreneurs as
Yes.
well that you spoke about in the beginning.
Yes. And when I sat and started to think about it, and I really didn't think about that particular area until that creeped in, until they were being taken away from.
Wow.
So at that end, that's when I start to really chronicle why I am the way I am, why I think the way I think, why entrepreneurship is so dear to me. Because I could tell you, my mom had a book. My mom, all of them are domestic engineers.
Okay.
So these big American white homes, I grew up in those homes with pools and everything. So literally every weekend I had somebody else with a pool. That's the beginning,
Yeah.
right? But they were cleaning these homes. They were, you know, the engineers of these homes. The people would give them the keys. They could do what they want. If they wanted to
Yeah.
sleep there, they sleep there. And that's what I grew up in. So I also had, even though we were not rich per se, I got the surroundings of what
Yes.
wealth
Yeah.
looks like,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And what beauty is on an external view. And then they also give you the first-hand view of what working hard is for what you want, right? So I didn't get everything, but I did get some values from these women.
Correct.
So it was nice to see that even though it took depth for me to recognize where it was birthed, where it came from, it also allowed me to appreciate where I came from, who I came from, and who instilled who I am. Yeah.
And they gave you that foundation to go forward because they know most likely today or tomorrow they may not always be around.
Mm-hmm.
So they ensure that when you grow up that you can be able to stand on your own. And they gave you, I think, which is so important, those values that's gonna stick with you no matter where you
No
go,
matter
no
what.
matter where you go.
No matter what. You know, my aunt passed away this year. My great aunt passed away last year.
Okay.
And my mom passed away on my 21st birthday. Just before my 21st birthday, for 3 months or something like that. And when you really look at it and you have these conversations with them, and then they start to tell you their stories, and then you go through the albums, and then you recognize how the family tree is. And then my great great aunt, I wish I had thought about pulling out a tape recorder and just have her, because she could have told me this person was married to this person,
Yeah.
and that person was married to this person. This person used to have a bakery. This person used to do this. The conversations of and the sharing of knowledge and sharing of what the family did on a whole, or who owned what. In case of my father's side, they're very industrious as well, or they're in politics as well.
Okay.
To this day, I have a current. My cousin is actually a a politician for our constituent in
No.
Dominica.
Okay.
So he's a part of that as well. And then you also have those, my family had bakeries and who have businesses and who have restaurants, and it's there.
There, yeah.
The entrepreneurship part is there, but they've always known how to make something out of nothing. They've definitely known that. So, like you said, the foundation is there. It really took some digging up to recognize why my innate self is the way I am. Uh, I'm not as quiet as they are.
Which is fine. Which is
Yeah,
fine.
it's okay.
You're being authentic. Authentic self.
That's so kind of the time I get my father's behavior, though I wasn't raised up with my father. But there's certain things I'm quiet about. But at the end of the day, I think for me, once I make all my noise and do whatever I want to do, once the day has ended, I really want to go in my shell. I know that as well. I just want to silence myself.
Yeah.
The door closed. I don't need to see anyone. I don't know how I do it with the children, but I do it. But that's definitely a part of it. Yeah. So my humble beginnings are those four women.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the best foundations I think I've had. Yeah.
They'll be very proud of you. I think if they are able to see you today, right now, in this moment, I do believe they'll be so proud of you.
Listen, I think, and you did mention that I'm down to the last one. She's with us, and then the one who passed away in March. She made it. She's not my mom, but anybody she sees, she would say, "This is my daughter." And you could tell the proudness. She was extremely proud. And then when we did the rising, my cousin was there,
Mhm.
the last of the fourth. And you could see that the whole family is
Wow.
just proud.
Yes, yes.
Of course, they had their own thoughts on things that they wish that I would have accomplished. I can promise you that.
Yeah. Many of them, like, even my parents who sometimes you'll hear them in the house, especially my dad. And it's like, probably I understand what you're saying, but we have our own dreams that we wanna pursue,
Like,
you know?
you would have
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
I've heard them say it on more than one occasion. My answer is, she's so stubborn, she'll listen to nobody.
Just be you.
Just being me. And at the end of the day, you would hear the conversation. Can't ask Mandy this question. Well, no, don't ask me because it's not for me to answer.
Right.
Or whatever the case may be. But she always knew that no matter what, it is what it is. And she would be proud when I do certain things or see that certain things that, where you thought, oh my goodness, this is so hard. Because they know I wouldn't come to them to for anything unless I reach really to a
Yeah.
hard end, a spot, and I need to figure this thing out. But it was always, okay, I have something to do. I'm doing what I got to do and make it do.
Yeah.
And we always we don't sit. We don't sit. I think that's the only issue. So I was glad that I was capable of sitting down and reflecting on why I am and why I am the way I am and who I am. And hopefully I could continue being just so I pass it on to my children as well.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. That legacy, pass
Yeah.
on that legacy.
Yeah. They gotta just grow on their own. Whatever level they want to do is fine. I'm not even fussing about it. You do what you want to do.
But once they have that foundation, it
But
would
just
set
make
them
sure
up.
you set this
Yeah.
up to do what you're doing. Because
Yeah.
I just tell them I had no godmother, I had no great aunt, I had no nene in that type of way. You know how we just see the godmother,
Parents,
the
yeah.
god and the fairy godmothers. Nobody do none of that for me. But what I did have was persons that I always could have asked for advice because I was always in something. I was always in an organization. I was part of a youth group. I was always in something that had influencers or those that could have turned a door and would have given me advice as to which direction to go, because so forth. So they know nothing from me, but I can ask advice.
Yeah.
And that is all you need, really and truly. And then you
Exactly.
just make the step on what
Exactly.
you need to do. So I had that. that much. And people just liked me as well. People would just see me and be like, "You need a job?" That's-
That is very rare. That is very
Literally came in my house and took me out of my mother's house and said, "I have a job you
wow.
wanted."
Wow.
And then another one is same story. People just like me like that. And that's how it was. Yeah, so my beginnings were just those four women.
Wow, I love
Yeah.
it. And you know those that humbleness that you mentioned too as well. As you mentioned, folks just like you and come to you, etc. I remember that humility.
Yeah.
It really takes you a very
Very,
far way,
very,
very, very far way.
very. And it's something I also preach with, especially with Shiloh. And I'm mentioning her because of the art crafts that she's in. And they can also be considered being snobby people. A lot of times creatives are considered snobby. I just think that they have their own way of
Thinking,
thinking
that's it.
and doing things,
It's
and
different than
it's
what normal.
completely
Yeah, it is.
different. And once you get to know who they are, you realize, oh, this is just how they function.
Yeah.
It's nothing, it has absolutely nothing to do
You
with them.
100%.
And that's something I noticed with creators. But I also told her, because of your dance, you're in the dance industry, humility goes a long way.
It does.
And sometimes you see people who cannot dance technically get
Yeah.
chosen because of their humility. And the ones that can really outperform it will not get a job. So you have to be that measure of humility, that
Teachable for it too as well.
teachable spirit, not always doing everything, always arguing,
Yeah.
be able to listen, be able to apply what you hear, and just be humble and caring.
Yes.
And kindness
Kind.
goes such a long way. Because sometimes somebody does the whole and no one tells them that they look
Yeah.
cute or they have on, I like your earring or I like your style or it's nice, I like that. Sometimes people don't even get that type of opportunity to hear that throughout the whole day. So if you could just share that type of kindness,
Correct. Correct.
that's it. I think people never forget you.
They won't.
They
They won't. They
never
won't.
forget
It
you.
puts you automatically at the top of their list or somewhere at the top of people,
Mhm.
hey, because they remember you. They remember how you made them feel.
People remember
How
how
you
you
made
made
them
them
feel.
feel. Gospel truth.
Yeah.
And then they also hear the sincerity in it. Because
Yes.
they have people who know what I say, the trick that I say, how to, but you hear the connivangness
Yeah.
and be in their voices, but the sincerity. I was at an event, I could even bring that up. I was at an event and the girl said, your smile is contagious. I said, because I'm authentic. But I definitely think that type of personal touch,
It does.
goes a long way. And it's
Does.
actually me coming out of myself. People think I am an extrovert. I am to a degree, but for me, the whole, it takes a lot for me
Yeah.
to do it. So for me, I would pull myself out of it. I'm like, I'm not a networker. Horrible at
Crazy was well
networking
though, I think, in my opinion.
because I choose who I want to deal with. In a room of 1 million people, I only want to talk to one person.
Okay.
And it's not that I won't smile at no one else, but this one particular person has something I want to hear, and I know that I want to hear it from them.
Right.
So I'll make it an obligation to find this one particular person. That's just the way how I function. Not saying that I wouldn't stop and say hi or like I mentioned, if I saw something cute or whatever.
Exactly.
But I also understand those things are conversation starters as well. And once persons see your spirit is true, it becomes easy.
It does.
Yeah, it
It does.
does.
It does.
Yeah.
You mentioned the rising women.
Yay!
That is something
Baby.
that you're pretty much known for on the island. So tell us more about it. Like what motivated you to
Hmm.
start it? How is it going? Tell us some more about it. The history behind it.
So the rising, I'm a readaholic. I definitely anything I could get my hands on that is in my arena of self-development. Yes, that's my subject matter. I love that. Outside of that, I would also be scrolling and reading different things. And I saw this homegrown movement.
Okay.
It was in the US, right? And it was more about political aspects, but it was women in majority. So the rising women in majority.
Yeah.
And when I saw the rising, it just clicked in my head. I was like, okay, that's it. We're going to do this. And I normally do every January, but I haven't done it for the last 2 or 3 years. Every January, I would have like a online Facebook. 1 week we do some journaling, we do some stuff for 1 week, like for them, because I don't do what do we call this thing in January? We like to do so
Oh,
much.
like our goal setting, reflections.
I do like goal setting, yes,
Resolutions.
but I don't do the resolutions now. We really and truly don't resolute nothing.
That is true.
So I set intentions and I work at least on one intention for that particular year
Okay.
that I definitely
Attainable.
which is attainable. I have a couple journals that I've also provided, and
Sure.
they would like, have this whole thing for a whole week, and then they could. I work with them like a lunch and learn type of situation. So we come on and do lives, etc. So I didn't do it for 2 years, but normally I do it in January,
Okay.
5 days straight, 1 hour every day, and then the last day we have like a kind of virtual party or something like. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then we do it together. So after that, then I will go straight into the rising in February, in March. And then it came to me, let's do this. And if you see how this thing went from tap, 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 I don't know how it worked, but however God moved it, it moved it. We did it in 2020, and that was literally on the cusp of COVID.
COVID. Yeah.
So I remember the Sunday was a rising, the Monday we were shut down, and we didn't even know how to function. You need to sit spaces apart. You need to
I
have
remember that.
so all those different things were also considered. The first one was magnificent. We were actually going to host it at a friend's space on Front Street. She closed the business now.
Okay.
But we were gonna do it in a small space. It was really a small space, maybe the size of your studio.
Okay.
And people started complaining. They want to come, but it's too small.
Mm.
So we went to Balea and it became a full out production. And I can recall one of the speakers' fathers like, this is one of the best things he's been through. The ladies could be their authentic selves. It was a comfortable atmosphere. You could liaise, have conversations, speak, have a glass of wine. I'm a winist. You'll always find wine wherever I'm at.
Red or white?
Red.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Red, red. We don't do too much of the Kool-Aid unless that's what you have. Nonetheless, ended up being a really good discussion. So
Sure.
it was capable of speaking to these women about their own selves. The first one was about the young parliamentarians, those that who had just come in that year because they were rather young. We spoke about who they are as individuals,
Yeah.
and persons also got to answer questions. And then Ambassador Alicia Liverpool did the opening for me, and that was the first year. And we have been able to have it every April, normally on the third or the second April before for not April, sorry, March for Women's Month. And we'll normally have it within 15th or 16th, somewhere around that time. And we are well deep in it. To be honest with you, this is not something that I wrote. This is not something that I had planned. This is not something that I can say I have planned for the next 5 years either. I really work on it by the grace of God, to be honest with you. And when the time comes around, we pull the team together and we say, this is the topic at hand. It's not something that's planned at all. And however the pieces come together, I always say this is God. For me, it is pure God because there's no way the things that I or we have been able to accomplish gets accomplished. Really and truly, because we've been working on a zero budget. Zero budget. Zero budget.
And it's always well put together.
It's always well put together.
I hear like even in the community as well, individuals that go there, like it's really good. It's so good. They enjoy it. Even the topics that you have, because I was intrigued. I think this year it was with aviation.
But the edition was
I
aviation.
was like, how do you select those
I don't know.
topics? I'm like, is it something that's celebrating aviation around that same time?
Aviation was being celebrated, but I didn't know.
Okay.
I did not know. So when it was time to work with persons within the aviation field, because normally what I would do if I'm doing something, I'm going to work with persons that are in that particular field.
Yes.
Um, it was aviation time. I did not know. So that sort of worked in our best interest the last year's on. The conversations were ripe. We did some stuff new in it. And with that as well, it also showed, okay, this is something that I've never done or seen. and it happened to work in this instance. This is something I'm going to continue because we normally have a Q&A segment
Yeah.
going on. One person asks a question, but this time I made the Q&A segment into individual tables. So persons, if you wanted to, after we had the discussion, we were not going to have a set aside Q&A.
Yeah.
Well, I did it with it still, but I know next time we're going to cut out a Q&A and we're going to do almost like table talks.
Nice.
So there's going to be like 5 tables.
Yes.
All the speakers will be
Yeah.
able to sit there and whoever is there do like a rotation.
I love it.
Yeah, so they had that rotation, and persons love that concept because you could have asked them questions directly without having to have that whole.
Correct. A more intimate
It
type of
became
feel.
intimate. And then I had a friend, he said, I wanted to do what you did. He said, I really love that concept. So it is not just a sit down and Q&A, of course. And I did say, if someone wants to ask a question, I can ask a question, but I'm giving you that opportunity to come one to one to that individual because sometimes some people just want to have that one on one
Correct.
because I'll never have that opportunity again unless I made provisions.
Yes.
So the aviation segment was really beautiful. I definitely loved it. I reached out to the schools as well, the high schools, because a particular teacher had reached out to me asking for my assistance.
Okay.
If I knew anybody within the community for certain things for aviation. I said, okay, yes, I've heard of this. Let me give you this number, blah. So when that was, when she asked me those questions, I told her I recognize these things are being done, invited her students. And then I invited MPC students, and I told them they can come. I didn't mind if it was a girl or a boy, but I did say it's a women's event. But there's a so students came, and within the students, I made all of them stand. And persons that were in the aviation, everyone from management or who was on the panel discussion, or persons who was sitting in the room, both Dutch and French side. I said, everyone turn around and look at these students, find them when you're done.
Wow.
Because that's what you need.
Yes.
And
They
you
need
you
that.
you you
Yeah.
need to put
Yep.
people to connect in
Right.
places, and especially students that who might not be leaving automatically. I know they had a few that's leaving for college, but they got those that are still staying here
They
or
have
they
questions and so that they can connect with someone.
I said, y'all see these children? Connect.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes they don't know who to ask. They have these questions and they really and truly don't know who to
who to
ask or
ask?
how to ask, where to start. So having that in that room, I think it's brilliant.
It made all of them stand up. I said, y'all connect with these teens for me, please. All of them. Uh, and they were so happy. The feedback I got after is that they really appreciated the opportunity because some of them are still thinking, am I gonna get a job when I done
Yeah.
school?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I understood, and I'm plugging in Winnier here. Winnier who hires quite a bit of our locals. So get
Thank
into
you.
that. Yeah, thank you very much, Winnier. I'm plugging in. I know what I'm doing. So they hire quite a bit of our locals. Airport hires quite a bit of our locals as well. But they definitely had a room filled of persons that could have um moved hands when given opportunities. So the mere fact that these students was in the room, that was really important to me. I admired that part. If there's anything that was
Yeah.
worth it, yeah.
I think you gave them something that's tangible.
A space.
Yes.
I give you a
Yeah.
space. I gave you a space and something I think that for me, I am grateful to because I've also been able to be in spaces that persons put me into. So for me to also, like I said, people used to come home and ask my mother if I need a job.
Correct.
So I was given spaces. So I think it's also an opportunity for me to pay forward for someone else to get space.
But
You would hear the feedback from students who you had the opportunity to pour into. And they're like, I hope you're continuing doing this thing. I used to do leadership classes with students and literally paying it out my pocket. But the mere fact of the matter is paying it forward. And then you see them doing things. When they see you where are you? Are you in college? Yes, I'm there. Or whatever the case is. Or I would say, what are you doing here still?
Yeah.
And that's what around. I love working with the people children that we consider difficult, teens that we consider difficult, or you want to push them aside. I love working with them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, their situation might just be what it is, a situation.
Correct.
But if they have one person that believes in them,
And that just catapults them into the
Everything.
next chapter that they need.
Everything. So some of us, yes, we made and okay, we have it good at home, but they got some others who just need someone who believe no matter
They
how
will.
difficult they are, let's do this thing. And I love it. I really do. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, has there been any time along your journey where you felt like you wanted to quit, whether it's your entrepreneurship or the rising women or anything that any time that you felt like you wanted to quit?
Of course. We lie to ourselves, the entrepreneurs. Or maybe we're telling ourselves the truth. I don't know which way you want us to put it.
Yeah.
Things get hard. Things really get hard. And at the end of the minute, at the end of the day, you're like, okay, I had enough of this thing. And then you have to pull yourself back to why am I doing this?
Yeah.
What what is my why? And when you bring yourself back to that particular place, you'd be like, okay, this is why I'm doing it. Now, outside of that,
Mhm.
I know how Mandy is.
Yeah.
Amanda cannot do the 9 to 5. I really and truly can't do it. Not for a long period of time, anyhow. I could probably do it for 2 to 3 years. You can get after that,
Yeah.
I am tired. So we quit.
And
I
that's
will leave.
okay. And
And
that's
it's
okay.
okay. It does
That's
not
okay.
it I'm not doing a 1 year, then I find if you're doing 1 year, then something going wrong. Yeah. But the 3 years, I could work with you for 3 years maximum. But that's who I am. And I know that is who I am.
Yeah.
So for me it's easier to do something not 9 to 5, but do something based on project wise. Because I enjoy um I love the challenge. Yeah. So if something doesn't challenge me, it really irritates me. And with the irritation comes, oh my God, I had enough of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But that's really and truly what it is. I know I can't do a 9 to 5. So I'm not going to do something I cannot do. But projects, yes. Give me a project, I'll do it for you. Give me multiple projects on different things, I'll do it for you. If you're asking me to moderate an event, oh, I love that. I'll do the moderating of an event. If you ask me to speak at an event, I love that because it gives me the opportunity to deal with a various variables of topics as well as individuals and different type of people.
Yes.
And I love that is what I love. I love that. So I could stay there. But of course, entrepreneurship is not easy. It will never be easy. They got some of us who will hit the roof at certain times and our careers will be going good. And then there are some of us that will not hit that roof. 1 minute you see a beautiful check, next 2 months the check finishing because you'll see nothing coming in. And then you have to question yourself, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And then come back to our basic question.
Why? And that's your motivating factor that keeps you going. That's
Yeah.
why.
And what is motivation? Because a lot of people don't know how to motivate themselves. As we look at it as a whole. But what keeps you motivated? But don't ask me what keeps you motivated. Sometimes there's no motivation. Sometimes it's the mere fact that you need to do,
What you have to do.
you have to do to survive. Yeah.
Wow. 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 And what sacrifices have you made early on to be where you are today?
Me?
Mhm.
Me.
Sacrifice yourself.
Me. Oh boy. Woo. Exactly. A lot of us think we can do things on our own. We can't. I don't see someone starting something on their own. You have had persons who have played an integral role somewhere along the line.
Mhm.
So you probably would have the idea, yes. You probably start, yes. But you're going to call in Nikki to assist you somewhere along the line. You're going to call in Latoya
Yeah.
somewhere along the line. You're going to call in Amanda somewhere along the line. And all of those are the little things that creates you. So it's really and truly how we work with everyone to bring across a project.
Yeah.
And that is where I say me. Because it's really and truly me. Ain't nobody else but me. Am I gonna be a lone ranger? But for how long?
Mhm.
How can you sustain
Correct.
something?
How far do you want to go?
How far do you want to go? So two is always better than one. That is my motto. It's always better to partner it and do it.
In terms of sacrificing yourself, I
Yeah,
often believe that sometimes for that collaborative effort,
you got to.
because of the greatness of the vision, it's
Mm-hmm.
really going to require you either saying, hey, I want to give up some pieces of me for the whole.
For the whole,
Whether it's an idea that I thought was good, but hey, like you said, maybe Nikki might have a better idea. And
Nikki
you're
go,
sacrificing what you know, put it in place
me.
what she knows because you want to go further with it.
And I think a lot of people, and I'm going to bring it back to just you have to die to certain things in order for something to blossom. Um, and that's the gist of the matter. A seed does not blossom unless it dies.
Mm,
And once it dies, someone has to water it. It's not necessarily I'm watering the seed. I could be the seed
mm,
and like you're watering it. I need somebody to give me sunshine. If God didn't open up those clouds and give me some sort of sunshine,
yeah.
that seed can bust through because of the warmth. But it needs to die. It
Wow.
needs to practically dry out. And a lot of times we have to come to that point for greater works to be done through us.
That is so true.
You gotta die. Something dies. And not the dream per se, but there's something in you that breaks and dies so that the bigger work will come and come out. I'm gonna say the rising. I think and I made mention of it this year. Every time for the last 2 years or maybe the three, let me not say two, 3 years. Every time I'm supposed to do the rise and something breaks.
Wow.
I had two decks consistently same time and I have to show up at the rise. And that's a serious breaking.
Wow.
Something dies. I had a hard situation as well. Something died. So and I told everyone of this particular rising, I was like, I told God I had enough. He break me enough. You don't think he break
Wow. Wow.
this thing dies. And every time it dies, I feel as though the rising springs forth
Mm,
better than what it was.
mm.
This year for me was it was like a full blossom because something died. It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. And that's just what that is. Yeah, I don't know how it works with someone else, but it worked. That's how it worked on my end.
And it's funny that you mentioned and you said, I like the terminology that you use actually with the rising women, where you said it's spring forward. The springs forward. And oftentimes that is not something that we can deal with too hard because in that now moment, the breaking, it feels so hard. It's like, okay, God, what is it that you're trying to do with that breaking, that pruning?
Mm-hmm.
But little do we know, He's actually molding us, shaping us to bear more fruit.
Yep.
So that's what I think of when you mention that it blossomed. It's like the fruit that's being produced from it. God had to actually cause some kind of breaking to happen. Otherwise, that fruit would not be
What
able
you
to
want, that scent that you want,
Yeah.
and bring it back to you. That rain
Mm,
that you're looking for, because the raining didn't just happen, so they had to die in order to have a crown.
right. Wow.
Had to.
Yeah.
There was no way that, and the type of death was not the best,
No, it wasn't. It
but it
wasn't.
had to have a death in order to reign. And that's a part of the journey. So you don't get to reign just by reigning. You definitely have to go through that particular journey. And this is my reigning journey.
And in the whole conversation, and I'm like, I know time is winding down, but what kind of impact do you hope to leave through your journey?
One of the things I just want to leave you better than how you met me.
Mm,
I think that's the most important thing. And outside of that, that you do what you were called to do. That I actually give you something that tangible
yeah.
so that you can be all that you're supposed to be. And that's the or actually the end product of the rising as well. To empower, inspire, and encourage you to walk out your God given purpose. That's it. There's nothing more to it.
Yeah.
I give you the conversations. I give you the true life stories. I give you persons that went through whatever they went through, how they went through it, how they overcame challenges, stepping stones. And I just want you to push. That's it. You do what you need to do. Accomplish what. it's giving to you.
Correct.
And realize that you can do it. And I always say, but this is on zero budget.
You always know that when you have whatever you're doing, there's gonna be a attached. There's a cost somewhere. If it's not that person that's paying that cost, the cost is attached some
There
way,
is
somehow, whether
a
it's your
cost.
time, whether it's financially, whatever it is, it's gonna have a cost attached to it.
There's a cost, and the thing about it is the cost is not on the attendees because I charge them absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I've had people say, Mandy, when you gonna start charging? I was like, not this, something else.
Yeah.
But not
Yeah.
not this. This is my give back
Right.
in a space where just like when we're having the conversation, I could speak freely. I don't need to be on I could speak how I feel like speaking. I could be very relatable to the crowd and
Yeah.
there's no holding back and we just speak. And that is what I want because persons don't get that opportunity to be in a room where they could just be. And that's why you gotta rise, right? So your God given vocation that I want you to be authentically in your space once you walk in there and that you become a part of the space and feel that freedom to speak. So you gotta do your purpose. It's gotta be on purpose. Gotta
That
be for
intentionality.
purpose. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
gotta be for purpose. Nothing else. Yeah.
Love it.
Mhm.
And as we wrap up today's session, I know. It's been a good one.
Yes, ma'am.
What are some gems do you want to leave with us today that we can remember moving forward along our individual journeys?
First and foremost, I think I touched on quite a bit of them, but first and foremost is your authenticity. Don't give that up for no one, no how, and just walk out your God-given purpose. We just remember the one who called you to do this work
Yeah.
and do the work. At the end of the day, just do business. Do what you got to do. Fulfill it. You don't need to start at a grand scale. You could start with just one small thing.
You could just start.
Just start. A lot of people wait for the whole plan to be no, boo boo. Just start. And the plan will come eventually.
Yeah.
But you don't always need a plan. Just have a vision and just move with it and be able to add persons to you. Because this is just not about you. This is about everyone that's connected to you. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much again, Amanda,
That's
for
what I
being
thought.
here with us today. It was such a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
But we look forward again to have you sometime in the future.
Not a problem.
And thank you also, our listeners, our viewers, for tuning in. Until next time, keep reigning. Reign with me. You've been listening to the Her Reigning Journey podcast. If today's conversation encouraged or inspired you, share it with the woman you admire. And let's keep building spaces where real conversations unfold, stories are shared, and legacies are born. Until next time, I'm your host, Katharina.